In the annals of history, few events have captured the imagination and stirred the hearts of humanity quite like Easter. It's a tale of betrayal, sacrifice, and ultimately, triumph. Join us on a journey as we peel back the layers of time to uncover the untold story of Easter. But Easter isn't just about suffering and death. It's a story of hope reborn, of new beginnings, and the triumph of light over darkness. So buckle up and prepare to be captivated as we embark on a journey through the ages, unraveling the mysteries of Easter and rediscovering the timeless truths that continue to resonate with us today. As we delve into these final days of Jesus in Jerusalem, we see a city about to go through big changes. The religious leaders, called the Pharisees and Sadducees, are becoming more and more suspicious and angry towards Jesus. They're worried because many people like Jesus. He teaches things that make them question their power, and he says he's like God, which they don't believe. The feeling of conflict between Jesus and these leaders is strong, like a quiet battle of ideas that could shake up how things are normally done. Among the public, the mood is a mix of hope and apprehension. The people have heard of, and many have witnessed, the miracles Jesus has performed, the blind gaining sight, the lame walking, the dead rising. These stories make people more and more excited. Could Jesus really be the special Messiah everyone's been waiting for? But mixed with this hope is a feeling of worry about what might happen. The rulers from Rome, who are always keeping an eye out for any sign of disagreement, make the city feel tense and uneasy. Despite all of this happening, Jesus keeps teaching and helping people, which gives hope to many. But at the same time, it makes others, who see him as a danger, pay even more attention to him. There's a feeling of danger that always seems to be around Jesus, like a big storm that might come at any moment. Yet, while these tensions simmer beneath the surface, life goes on in the bustling city of Jerusalem. The markets are full, the temples echo with prayers, and the streets hum with the rhythm of daily life. These aren't just any days. They're the last days of Jesus in Jerusalem, and what happens next will change the course of history forever. In the midst of this storm, Jesus gathered his disciples for what would be their last supper together. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the air heavy with the scent of freshly baked bread and aged wine. This meal, however, was not just an ordinary feast. It was a powerful moment, full of meaning and symbols that would echo throughout history. Jesus, always the teacher, used the bread and wine in front of them to explain important ideas in a simple way. He broke the bread, a humble yet hearty staple of their diet, and shared it amongst his disciples. "This is my body," he said, "given for you." The bread, torn apart, symbolized his body, soon to be broken on the cross. Next, he took the wine, a deep red liquid that mirrored the lifeblood coursing through their veins. He passed it around, declaring, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." The wine was a symbol of his blood, soon to be spilled for the salvation of humanity. But amidst this heartfelt sharing, a shadow loomed. Jesus revealed that one amongst them was going to betray him. A ripple of shock and denial swept through the disciples. Each person asked, "Do you mean me, Lord?" Yet the seed of betrayal had already been sown, casting a chilling pall over their fellowship. Despite this somber revelation, Jesus didn't leave his disciples in despair. He gave them a new commandment, a light of hope shining in the midst of darkness. "Love one another," he urged them, "as I have loved you." It was a call to radical, sacrificial love, the kind that would be fully embodied in his impending sacrifice. As they ate bread and drank wine in the dim light, the disciples couldn't completely understand how important what was happening really was. They couldn't see how much their world was going to change. Little did they know, this was their last meal with him, and the dawn of a new era was about to break. From the hushed whispers of the night Jesus was led away to face trials that would seal his fate. As the dawn's first light began to seep into the sky, Jesus was brought before the high priest, Caiaphas, the de facto leader of the Jewish people. In the grand hall of the Sanhedrin, Jesus stood by himself, while the elders, scribes, and chief priests whispered around him. The air was thick with tension, the room heavy with the weight of silences and unsaid words. Caiaphas, a man known for his political acumen, sought to maintain the delicate balance of power between Rome and Jerusalem. With the rising sun, Jesus was then taken to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. Pilate was a practical leader, someone who knew how to handle power and lead with skill. He was stuck in the middle of political games, torn between following Roman law and listening to what the Jewish leaders wanted. In the big rooms of the governor's palace, Pilate asked Jesus questions, trying to find out what was really true. Yet the more he delved into the matter, the more he found himself wavering, unsure of the right course of action. Even Pilate's wife had been troubled by nightmares, warning him not to harm this righteous man. Pilate, trying to avoid taking responsibility, sent Jesus to Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee. Herod, famous for being flashy and spending a lot of money, was interested in the man standing in front of him. He had heard tales of Jesus, of his teachings and miracles, and he hoped to witness a miracle himself. Disappointed, Herod sent Jesus back to Pilate, who found himself at the center of a storm once more. The crowd, incited by the chief priests, demanded that Jesus be crucified. Pilate, even though he had doubts, decided to wash his hands of the situation, showing that he didn't want to be responsible for the decision. In the halls of power, a decision was made, a decision that would echo through the ages. The trials of Jesus before Caiaphas, Pilate, and Herod were not just about the fate of one man. They showed the difficult moral choices, the political tricks, and the unsure decisions of those in charge, revealing how hard leadership can be and how tough it is to make decisions. From the courtrooms to the hill of Golgotha, Jesus carried his cross, bearing the weight of the world's sins. The air was heavy, filled with an ominous silence that echoed the gravity of what was about to happen. Jesus, a carpenter from Nazareth, became the main character in one of the most important stories ever. His journey to the cross wasn't just a walk up a hill, it was a spiritual journey that would change everything. The crucifixion, a way Romans execute people, was meant to be slow and painful. It was meant to scare others into obeying Rome. But for Jesus, it was something else. It was a way to show love, sacrifice, and how people can be saved. When they nailed Jesus to the cross, he didn't get angry or hate them. Instead, he looked at them with kindness and said, "God, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." These words weren't just asking for forgiveness. They showed how much he loved people. Jesus hung on the cross for several hours, enduring unimaginable pain. But his physical suffering was only part of the story. He was also carrying the spiritual burden of the world's sins, a weight far greater than any physical torment. In his final moments, Jesus cried out, "It is finished." These words were not a cry of defeat, but a declaration of victory. With these words, he completed his mission, fulfilling the prophecies and offering humanity a path of salvation. As Jesus gave up his spirit, the earth shook, the sky darkened, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two, symbolizing the breaking of the barrier between God and humanity. His death was not just a physical demise, but a spiritual triumph, shattering the power of sin and death. The crucifixion of Jesus is a story of profound sacrifice, but it is also a story of love. A love so vast, so deep, that it was willing to endure the ultimate suffering for the sake of others. This love is not confined to the pages of history. It reaches out to us today, offering hope, forgiveness, and new beginnings. The cross used to be a sign of shame and loss, but now it's a symbol of love and winning. It shows how powerful love without thinking of yourself can be. It reminds us how much God loves people. As the sky darkened, Jesus breathed his last, marking the end of one journey and the beginning of another. His crucifixion was not the end, but the start of a new chapter, a chapter of hope, of resurrection, and of eternal life. 3 days later, something mysterious happened that would change the world forever. After the crucifixion, Jesus' body was taken down from the cross and placed in a tomb, sealed by a large stone. As the Sabbath ended, Jerusalem became very quiet and sad. But within this silence, a miraculous transformation was taking place. The first day of the week started with a sunrise unlike any other. The stone that sealed the tomb was found rolled away, and the body of Jesus was nowhere to be found. His followers, still feeling shocked by his death, saw something they never expected. Their leader, their friend, whom they had seen die on the cross, was no longer in the grave. News of the empty tomb spread like wildfire, igniting a mix of fear, disbelief, and shock. People who heard about it felt amazed and wondered what was happening. Could it be possible? Had Jesus truly risen from the dead? As the disciples tried to understand what was going on, they would soon realize the truth they couldn't ignore. The Messiah showed up to them, not like a ghost or something they imagined it, but in a real body, with the marks from when he was executed on the cross. In those moments, the disciples stopped doubting and started to truly believe. Their grief turned into joy, their fear into courage. Jesus coming back to life wasn't just something amazing. It changed everything in history. It marked the victory of life over death, love over hate, and hope over despair. Jesus coming back to life showed how much believing in something can change things and how much God's love can do. In the silence of the tomb, life had won over death, showing that a new hope was starting. The resurrection isn't just part of a story from the past. It's like a shining light that still shows us the promise of starting over and being saved. This is the core of Easter's message, a celebration of life's triumph over death and the unfailing power of love. From the crucifixion to the resurrection, the story of Easter is one of hope, redemption, and eternal love. This really important moment in history has influenced what millions of people believe and do all around the world. It's not just about one time or place. It's become a symbol everywhere of starting again and being born again. Easter is more than just a date on the calendar. It reminds us of a big sacrifice and shows how much someone loved everyone. It changed everything for humanity. It's like a party because life won over death. A big win that gives us hope when things are really bad. At its core, Easter carries a message of love and forgiveness. It's about the ability to rise above our circumstances, to forgive the unforgivable, and love the unlovable. It's about the second chances we're given, time and time again, to start anew, just as the world does each spring. This transformative power of Easter has had a profound impact on millions across the world. For a lot of people, it's a time to think about how they've changed and gotten better, to think about where they've been, and to feel hopeful about what's coming next. It's a time to reconnect with loved ones, to forgive past grievances, and strengthen bonds of fellowship. Easter's enduring significance is also seen in its influence on art, literature, and culture. From old paintings by Michelangelo and Rembrandt to new poems and plays, lots of artists have been inspired by the Easter story. They all show different parts of what makes the story so important. But maybe the most important thing about Easter is all the times people do nice things for each other because of it. From the simple act of giving an Easter egg, symbolizing new life and rebirth, to the grand gestures of charity and goodwill, Easter continues to inspire us to be better, to do better. In a world where there's often fighting and disagreement, Easter shows us how to come together and make peace. It reminds us of our shared humanity, of our capacity for love and forgiveness. It encourages us to extend a hand of friendship, to build bridges of understanding and respect. As we reflect on the story of Easter, we're reminded of the transformative power of love and forgiveness. We're encouraged to let go of past hurts, to embrace the promise of new beginnings, and to strive for a future filled with peace and understanding. We're invited to carry the message of Easter into our everyday lives, to let its lessons guide our actions and shape our world. Easter is more than just a holiday. It's a celebration of life, of love, and of the promise of new beginnings. It's a testament to the enduring power of hope and to the transformative impact of love and forgiveness. As we reflect on the story of Easter, we are invited to embrace its powerful message, a message that continues to inspire hope and change in our world today. If you enjoyed this video and found it inspiring, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting content. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Until next time, may the spirit of Easter guide, uplift, inspire us to embrace compassion, to seek justice, and to walk in the footsteps of the one who gave everything for us.